I get him laughing at me already. Hey, you guys, welcome today to another different episode of Redneck Redemption. We're going to do a podcast tonight. It's going to be a little bit different. I don't have Andrew with me tonight. Last time we recorded, it was a whole room full of folks. Man, we had Andrew's wife Marlena. We had my wife Debbie. We had our daughter-in-law Scarlett. We had all three grandsons in the room, and my daughter Hannah was in the background making some noise. And so many of you guys know that our oldest son Andrew, who started this podcast and twisted my arm to do this with him, he's the bow man. He just has taken a new position with the Marine Corps, and that has moved him from where they used to live on the East Coast now to Arkansas. And so he's really busy getting all that situated, getting started in his new job and new position as a recruiter. And so in the meantime, he and I were discussing this, and we said, man, why don't we do a podcast with some other folks? And so tonight we've got a brand new dude that's never been on the podcast with us before, and it's our youngest son James. And so what we've decided we were going to do is just tell you a little bit about what James has had going on in his life. And some of you guys that are friends of our family, or you're familiar with our ministry, or you've been around us, some of you guys already know that James he's broken into the music industry recently. So what we want to do tonight is we're going to just tell you a little bit about what James has been doing. He started writing some music a while back, and then one thing led to another, and we just came back from Nashville, Tennessee a couple months ago, and James released his first album recently. And what we decided to do is just talk about the songs that he's written. We're not going to have time to talk about all of them tonight. We're going to talk about a handful of them and give a little background and just give you a little bit of music, man. We did that on another episode here a while back with some goofy stuff that I recorded several years ago. So tonight we're going to give you something on a little bit different flavor. So this is my son, James. All right, James, I'm going to pick your brain for a minute.
Okay.
So he walks in the room while I go and says, Dad, I see you got your podcast voice on already. I said, dude, we're just going to talk tonight. There's no podcast voice. It's just talking tonight.
No, you have a podcast voice. You change your voice when you're talking into that microphone.
Oh, what, I'm trying to sound all official or something?
Yeah, you're like, I guess you're just being loud, so the microphone will pick you up.
Yeah, that's part of it. I was about to tell you. You might have to be a little bit louder, but I can crank you up when I get done here a little bit.
Okay.
All right, so I want to just ask you a few questions first, and then we'll talk about some of your songs. I can't remember how long ago did you write your first song? Do you remember?
Ooh, that's probably, let's see, it was like winter of 2019, or like the beginning of 2019, I think so.
Beginning of 2019.
Yeah.
I get a phone call from James one day, and he said, Dad, I think I did something. And,
that is not how that happened. I never called you.
I've been looking forward to
you.
this argument back and forth.
Listen,
Here we go.
I when I wrote that first one, I did not tell you I didn't tell anybody for the longest time, and I definitely did not call you on the phone and tell you about it.
Come on, James.
I did that. That was an in-person thing. I was just like, and the first person I showed was Jonathan. Okay,
yeah.
I went to him first, and I was like, well, all right, see, what do you think about this? And he was like, oh my gosh, and I was like, oh. And then I was like, hey, Dad.
After Jonathan listened to what you wrote and thought it was worthy, you said what now?
I don't really remember what I said, but I did not call you on the phone.
It wasn't on the phone. It was
definitely
in person.
an in-person.
Here's the only part I remember. I remember you saying I did something, and do you remember my response?
No, I don't remember.
I said, you hit my truck.
Oh, yeah.
Almost every one of my kids is backed into one of our vehicles or backed into my truck or something or other. So James said, I did this thing, and I'm like, I never would have dreamed that he was about to tell me he had written a song. To be honest with you, James seemed at the time to maybe be the least musical of our children.
Still.
No, that's not true, son. But he had picked up the guitar a little bit and finally started teaching himself to play a few chords. So he learned about 3 chords, I think. Did you know 3 chords at that time?
I think I knew. I knew at least 4.
A grand total of 4.
Yeah, that's all you need.
That's all you need. Yeah, obviously, that's all you need. So he learned 3 or 4 chords, and then he writes this song. And maybe one of these days we'll come back and share with you more about that song. That song, though, the first song I heard him write, I was like, I'm stinking jealous. I've been writing songs all my life. It took me forever to write a song I thought was halfway decent, but that's way more than halfway decent. What was the name of that song?
Shot You Didn't Take.
Oh, yeah, The Shot You Didn't Take. And that was born out of an experience in his life, but it made him reflect on a lot of things. But anyway, it meant something. And when he wrote this song, I thought, and I remember telling you, son, that's not just a song that makes somebody feel something. That's a song that'll make somebody do something different, you know?
Yeah.
And so
should have recorded that one.
You should have recorded that one. As a matter of fact, I've got 2 recommendations. When you go back to record next time, and you do need to record again, there's 2 songs that you have written that you definitely need to record. So, but anyway, we'll talk about that later. All right, so we're talking about songs he did not record, but in a minute we want to play you a few songs that he did record. And so before we do, let's just talk about a couple of those songs and kind of how they evolved or how they came about. So first, which one do you want to talk about first?
That's up to you.
Well, let's talk about Fall Together.
All right.
Okay, so James just released this album, and it's called Fall Together. And by the way, we'll probably at the end we'll tell you where all you can find it, if you want to check it out. I mean, you can find it just about anywhere. James Reed, Fall Together. Just Google it, you'll find it. It's all over the place. But there's places you can listen to it for free, but naturally we'd prefer you go to the other ones. Right, James?
Oh, yeah, totally. Probably the best one would be, I listen to everything on Spotify, but most people, like the best one that would probably benefit me the most, if you want to do that, is probably iTunes or Amazon, I think. Spotify would be cool just to get my numbers up because I like Spotify. I don't know why I prefer that over everything else. But I don't think I really get anything from YouTube, but you can do whatever. You can listen to it anywhere. I don't care, as long as you're listening to it.
So you can check all these songs out on this album by James Reed called Fall Together. So in just a minute, we're going to play you the title song from that album. And before we do, let's just talk a little bit about how that song came about. Because you were telling me just a minute ago, you weren't even sure you didn't know what you were writing it about at first, right?
Yeah, not really. I was just writing the song. I just sat down. I started writing. I was like, okay, I like this. This is good. I like this. Where this is going, and then it just it all came together. It all sort of fell together.
All sort of fell together
as I was doing it, and I didn't realize how. Like, I was like, all right, yeah. I had some inspiration for the song, but I didn't realize how it wasn't until about a month or 2 after I wrote it that it actually meant a lot more to me, just because of how other relationships in my life and seeing other people, it just meant a lot more after that time, and that just blew my mind. I was like, wow, I didn't even know, and I still wrote the perfect song for all right, maybe not perfect, but it fits.
He's also very humble.
Yeah.
But you were surprised how it all fit together.
Yeah.
You didn't realize how fitting it was.
I didn't realize how. When I wrote it, I was like, I was kind of going for that, but I didn't realize that. And it felt good, and I was like, this is a good song. This song means a lot to me. But then later, it was like, wow, I never would have thought that it would mean this much. It's fits perfectly.
Well, let's talk about that just for a minute, because let's talk about inspiration and how that works. Sometimes you sit down to write a song and you don't. By the way, for those, we'll have a lot of listeners that have never written a song. They're like, songwriting is like, wow. But then there's some folks that try to do this all their life. But when you write a song, let's talk about the inspiration part of it, because things happen when you write songs sometimes. And when things do fall together, like what you're talking about, it kind of blows your mind.
Yeah.
And you realize... at some point you realize, man, I did not realize what I was doing.
Yeah, looking back, how did I do that? I know, what the heck? Why can't I do that right now? Go back there, sit down, and write a song. Just make one just as good as that one. It doesn't work like that. I can't. It's gonna sound like crap if you do it like that.
So there's a song that we might talk about later, but he's playing for me one day, and I just looked at him and I said, son, I think you need a co-writer, because I was thinking, man, I'd love to write a song with James, and we'll do that sometime in the future. Still, we would still be talking about it, thinking about it. But when I said, son, I think you need a co-writer, James looked at me, and do you remember what you said?
I think I said I already got a co-writer. Like, I can't write all this on my own. Like, something like that. I already have a co-writer.
Right. It was a very surreal moment, but it was a real surreal moment when he just said, "Dad, I'm pretty sure that I already have a co-writer."
Yeah.
Because I could not come. Man, I happen to know what he's got in his tater. This can't be him. No, just kidding. But it's been cool to watch the gift develop in you, and even when we went to Nashville, Tennessee, recorded with some professional musicians in a studio with some guys that just really know what they're doing and know what they're talking about. And one of the guys that owns the studio just looked at me in a moment. And he said, "You realize this really isn't normal for a 19-year-old, not just to be able to write songs of this caliber, but to write songs with this kind of insight." And that's the part that I think you may be talking about as much as anything else. You know, the things that you talk about.
Yeah. Well, most of the inspiration that I get is just from watching other people. Like, I'll watch other people or, like, how they live their lives or things. Like, I'm just learning from other people, and I take that and I use it in my songs. And then most of the songs, like, and there's a song on the album called Pouring My Heart in a Song, and that's about, like most of the song, a lot of the songs I write is from my own, like, stuff I experience, like how it makes me feel. I'll just pick up the guitar when I'm struggling with something. That's my go-to now. Is like I just sit down and play the guitar for a little bit, and then sometimes it'll turn into a song. Whatever like situation I'm going through in the moment will work its way out in the form of a song. And then other times it's just I'll just sit there and bang on strings for a little bit until I start feeling better. I don't know.
Well, some people write poetry. Some people take a baseball bat and beat cherry trees up. I don't know.
Yeah.
They do what you do just to deal with what's on the inside. But clearly this is something that you sensed early on. Not too early on in life, but all of a sudden when it kind of just came on you, all of a sudden you started writing song after song.
Yeah, well, I mean, like
song.
How many years ago was that? I started learning how to play in, I think, October of 2018. It was senior year. My senior year, I started learning how to play the guitar, and then before my senior year was up, I was writing like 3 years ago, or I don't know. I went to Redwater. My math isn't right. For 1 year. I'm sorry. I actually am really good at math. That's my favorite subject.
Yes, he is.
And it's because I had a great teacher all my life. That was my mom.
There you go. Kudos.
Well, I kind of taught myself at a certain age, but, she helped a lot. But I would have never dreamed, not in a million, like, I hated music. I'm not going to lie. Like, everything related to, that's not true. I liked my own music. And y'all, everybody wanted us to go sing and do stuff all the time. And I was like, I don't want it. That's dumb. Like, it's because y'all were making me do it. Like, I didn't want to do it because y'all were making me do it. And, like, I was like, I don't want to sing this. I don't like this stuff. I want to do my own stuff.
Right.
And then I was like, that's just, I had no desire. And then until, like, I don't know, I asked for a banjo one year for my birthday or something like that because I was just like, banjos are cool. And then got it out once and watched the little video, and I was like, that's, you gotta pick on every finger. What's going on here? It's way too complicated. I tried like 3 times, and I was like, I'm done. And I put it away, never got it back out. And then I was like, I just got bored, so I picked up that old bass guitar, and I was like, I'm gonna teach myself how to play the bass, and that's how it started. I started out playing the bass, and I learned like a couple songs. The first thing I ever learned was Little Money by Pink Floyd. That little bass line on there. It's the first thing I ever learned how to play.
Right. How's it go?
Like that one right there. Hey, it's fun. That's a fun thing to play.
Yeah, it is.
Probably it sounds a lot better when you play it than when I do it.
It's like a frog,
Well, I can't hear myself, so I'm just. But then I gave up. After that, I was like, I'm just gonna learn how to play the actual guitar while I'm at it. And like, I didn't have any. I just looked up when you learn anything on YouTube. I just got on YouTube, learned the basics, and taught myself in like, I don't know, a couple chords, and then figured it out in like a few months.
Right.
But it was annoying. But I didn't just give up like I did with the banjo. Now I wish I could probably go back and try to play the banjo. But then I just started writing songs. Like, as soon as I figured out how to play some chords and shape, like, I just started picking out some of my favorite songs. And then, I don't know, it just kind of happened. Never would have thought.
Well, that's how the music just kind of happens that way. As a matter of fact, I'm sitting here listening to you talk, thinking about what we're talking about, and just realizing that I don't think we told your sister that we're in here fixing to record a podcast, and they may hear her singing from the back of the house.
Yeah, I was just thinking
blowing lungs out. But at any rate, that's what that noise was in the background a while ago, if you want to know what that was. At any rate, and by the way, she's got a great voice too. But, all right, so... just real quick, what we want to do is play this song for you guys. It's called "Fall Together." And anything else you want to tell them about the song before we play it, James?
No, not really.
Okay, so a lot of the gift that James develops on is just learning how to spin words or phrases that are familiar to people. And, the concept is that, well, in a world where things keep falling apart, especially relationships often
You
fall
put a
apart.
lot more thought into my own songs than I do.
Well, no, if you think... Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I guess what you're saying is right, but I don't think about that at all when I'm writing. I'm just putting words.
That's the beauty of how you wrote the song. That's the beauty of how you wrote this stuff.
I know.
It really did fall together, and you're like,
Yeah.
that's why you meant that God was your co-writer, because you're like, where did this come from? This is so
what the
cool, Yeah, but after you listen to the
now,
song,
I do listen to, like, sometimes I will try to find find phrases like I mean, that's the whole song. Fall together is like other things are falling apart, so we can fall together. Like, we don't have to fall apart. Just because other stuff is bad doesn't mean we have to. Like, if we take it together, then it's easier than if we just. I mean, it might be easier to fall apart, but if everything else around you is falling apart, it's normally easier to just fall apart with it.
Yeah.
But if you fall together, it's actually a lot better.
Yeah, so falling together is a whole lot better than falling apart, and sometimes it's just a choice,
Yeah.
And in a crazy world that we're living in right now, when things seem to be just going nuts and falling apart, it's encouraging to somebody to see something that just is falling together.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, we spent enough time talking about it. Let's play it for them. Okay, here we go. This is James's song off his album. This is the title song off of James Reed's first album, Fall Together.
These days in life when things go wrong, relationships don't seem to ever last that long. 'Cause all the placing blame just adds fuel to the flames, and two people slowly fall apart. We can fall together like two little drops of rain. Let's fall together, make it through all the hurt and pain. 'Cause the sun still rises and goes down, and ain't nothing keeping our little world from spinning around. So even if we're going downhill and it ain't getting any better, let's just fall together. Love we share is far too strong to simply throw away when we don't know what's been going on. Won't always see eye to eye, and sometimes we're bound to have our fights. But even if our world starts falling apart, we'll just fall together like two little drops of rain. Let's fall together, make it through all the hurt and pain. 'Cause the sun still rises and goes down, and ain't nothing keeping our little world from spinning around. So even if we're going downhill and it ain't getting any better, we'll just fall together. us more together in sickness and in health. If it gets worse, it can only get better when we fall together. So let's just fall together.
All right, James, let's talk about something else. Hey, you guys, I wish there was a way that we could have people comment, you know, like if you stick something on a video somewhere and people can watch it, they can comment. Speaking of which, I tell you what we might try to do, man. Some of you guys are not aware that, you know, we have podcast listeners that listen in about 11 different countries, that listen from all parts of the United States. Most of them have never seen us. We do have a YouTube channel. To be honest with you, I've not been real faithful at uploading all of our podcasts onto the YouTube channel, but it's just the same title, Redneck Redemption. And you can look us up on YouTube, and I will try to go back and update all the latest podcasts and put on there. But I may also just put a few video clips on there just so that people can see what we want to talk about next, because writing songs is one thing, but you had an experience that few people ever get to experience, and it's just crazy how it all came together. We don't have time to tell that whole story, but because of the way the Lord put some pieces together, we ended up, my wife, Debbie, which we'll do a podcast with her before too long and release some of her songs. Actually, we might actually release them, play them for the first time for the public on this podcast. James's songs have already been released, but we all ended up doing some recording. His mom recorded 11 songs, and he recorded 10 songs in Nashville. So we walked into this recording studio, professional recording studio, and James has never been in one before. And so, talk about what that was like, James.
Well, it was pretty cool, you know.
Thank you for being so descriptive.
You're welcome. Nah, it was pretty cool. That was about how, just walking in the studio was about how I thought it'd be, like, studio stuff.
Right.
Like, yeah, that's pretty cool. But the experience of recording is what the coolest part was. Like, hearing something that I wrote come to life in an entirely different way. Like, even, like, it just blew my mind. Like, it was one of the most emotional experiences I think I've had in a long time.
Sure.
For sure. Even if some of the song, like, even if it wasn't how I thought it should sound in my head, just hearing it different, like hearing just a song that I made come to life, a song I wrote come to life with all of those instruments, and they just did it like it was nothing, like they just picked it up. They had to listen to it one time and just created an entire, like, track song built off my one little crappy phone recording I had. Like, that was insane.
Pretty impressive, wasn't it?
Yeah, impressive and very humbling, and also it was just cool. Like, I wrote that, and now it sounds awesome. Like, somebody else took something I wrote and made music with it.
Yeah. Just see somebody, and of course, when you're trying to do your own stuff, you know, and you work on it, try to get it, you try to perfect it, you try to work it up and make it artsy, and then all of a sudden you put it over into the hands of somebody that does this for a living, that's professional, and whose instrument is just an expression of their, they like talk with their instrument, you know, they feel with their instrument. These guys, especially a couple of them, all of them are great. We had some great musicians on this album, but a couple of them were exceptional. Yeah. And so anyway, it just blow you away to hear that thing come to life.
If you want to hear somebody talk with an instrument, listen to "Pouring My Heart in a Song" on that album, and just listen to that first little guitar lick in the intro. Yeah, you'll hear Jason.
Jason
Roller. He's talking through that guitar in that intro.
Yes, he
and
is.
Also through any of those songs with the fiddle on it. He's talking through that fiddle. He's screaming through the fiddle.
So the first time he picked up the fiddle and jumped in that little booth over there on the side and started hitting the fiddle licks, the first time you heard that come through those headphones, how did it affect you?
Oh, I was like, that. Heck yeah, that's what I like to hit. Like, that's what I'm talking about.
You gotta check this guy out. His name is Jason Roller, and you can find him. He's got his I think he's got a Facebook page. I know he's got a. You can just Google Jason Roller. He's all over the place. He's the lead guitarist for Alabama. He plays guitar and fiddle for them when they're traveling on the road. Anyway, it's just cool stuff. So yeah, to hear those guys hit your songs and just take off. So James is getting in the booth the first time, and they're going to play his. They're going to record a track for his very first song. Were you nervous when you got in that booth?
I was a little nervous at first.
Yeah, and so he's like, matter of fact, the guy that's doing the set, he says, "Hey, you're gonna have a 4-bar intro, and then the song begins. You'll do whatever." And so he says, "What's a 4-bar? I don't know what a 4-bar intro is, Dad." And I was like, "Dude, you will feel it. It'll just be natural to you." So that was the first time he'd heard somebody else play his song. And he said, I've never sung with somebody else playing my song. It's always been just me playing. So that was a brand new experience to have somebody else playing the music and him playing the song. Okay, I tell you what, son. Let's go ahead and play. Let's play "Kiss Her Goodbye" for him. I started to say let's play "Pouring My Heart in a Song," but you told him about that a while ago. If you guys want to hear this dude talking through this guitar, look it up. "Pouring My Heart in a Song," James Reed. But let's play this song for him real quick. It's "Kiss Her Goodbye." Now, before we start recording, you mentioned that'd be a good one for us to talk about for a reason. Why?
Well, I just figured. Because the people that listen to you, I'm sure a lot of the people from the church are listening to the podcast.
I have no idea.
Oh, you have no idea? Well, I just because
actually, mainly, I think most of the folks from the church don't even know we're doing this, to be honest with you. But this is folks from all around the country and several countries, as a matter of fact.
Well, so would any of them know who Brother Corey is then?
Well, no, you could explain that though. Some of them will.
Oh, okay. Well, when I was writing this song, first of all, let me step back. I did not write this whole song by myself.
This is the only song he's got a co-writer on. Human.
My youth pastor, I guess associate pastor, worship leader at FBC Redwater, Brother Corey, came to me with just all he had was just the chorus for this song. Which little did he know, I was already working on this song. I just didn't know I was working on this song. I was working on something that was almost exactly the same as what he had. I just couldn't get the tune right. I didn't like it, and I couldn't get my wording down. This is the message in the song is what I was going for. That's what I was wanting to say. That's what I was wanting to get across, but I just couldn't get it right. And I was wanting to. That's what I was trying for, and I just couldn't figure it out. I couldn't get it right, and so he just walks up to me after church one day, and he's like, "Hey, you got a second?" I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, I started working on this chorus, and it just made me." He said, "I can't do anything with it. All I have is just the chorus, just the chorus and a tune to go with it. That's all I have. And I can't." I said, "I've been trying to do something with it, but I just can't. I can't go anywhere with it." But he said it kind of reminded me of something that you might do, so I figured I'd show it to you and see if you wanted to do something with it. I was like, "Oh, all right." And then he was explaining it. He was like, the thought behind it is just like he said when I'm with my wife and anytime we're like leaving each other, or just when we're like, he said, I'll just like kiss her hand, or like if one of us is leaving the other one, well, like kiss them goodbye. Or when we're just driving down the road and I'm holding her hand, I'll just kiss her on the hand. I always want, always showing just like little acts of love and stuff. And so he was telling me that, explained it, and then he just played it for me, and he played that chorus, and as soon as he did, my jaw almost hit the floor. I was so excited, like it hyped me up so much, because I was like, you do not understand like how perfect this is, because it was so perfect. That's exactly what I needed. That's the exact message I was trying to go for, and I already had it. I already had like little things jotted down in my notes on my phone, because I was trying to write this song, but I was missing a piece. And he had that piece, and he gave me the tune, and he gave me the chorus, and it was just so perfect, it blew my mind. And he had no idea that's what I was working on, and that I needed that. He just felt like he needed to show it to me, and he did. And it couldn't have been more perfect. And then I finished it within the next month or so, and that's just sort of how that happened.
That's how it fell together. So it just kind of fell together. So you just had a conversation a few minutes ago before we started recording with your mom, and when you walked in here a minute ago, you said, "Man, Dad, she just connected
all the dots.
She connected all the dots." You know, so he's telling his mom this story, some of his experiences in the last few days or whatever, and his mom just puts it all together, and he said she just connected all the dots. You know,
it all fell together. It all falls together. Everything always falls together at some point or another. That's what I'm learning in life. It doesn't matter, like, even things that seem like they have nothing to do with each other, somehow down the line it's gonna fall together somewhere. It's gonna happen, which that's kind of a different that's not what the meaning of the song is,
right.
But I mean, yeah.
But you beginning
play on words
to experience enough to have the faith to know you don't always understand everything. I was just thinking about what it says in 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 7, where it says, "Husbands, deal with your wives, or dwell with your wives according to understanding." And I was speaking at a men's group last night, and I was telling them, I said, "What do you think that means?" They said, "We don't know, because we don't understand them." You know, you don't have to understand everything all the time. But you do understand this. There is somebody who understands it and sees it all. You know, when you said that Dad, I'm pretty sure I've got a co-writer, because I can't come up with this stuff on my own. Well, see, when this happens with you and Corey, man, it's almost like, God gave you part of a song, and somebody's going to say, these aren't even religious songs, you know? Why are you talking about, everything that's real and has any effect or any meaning or any worth, or a gift like this, this has to be a gift that comes from God. So, but for you to recognize, man, God had already given you part of this song, and then doop, He's given him the other part of it, and they fit perfectly together, man, and just fall together. Well, that's the way, you're right. That's the way a lot of things in life work. Well, okay, so I want to say this about what's the name of the song we're talking about?
Kiss Her Goodbye.
Oh, about Kiss Her Goodbye. Because I'm glad you said what you said about what Brother Corey was talking about his wife, about kissing her goodbye. Because a lot of people that know us and know our family and then know Brother Corey might assume, and I'm not going to say it didn't have some effect. You know, Brother Corey lost his wife a couple years ago to cancer, and she was in her early 40s. And, man, it was just quite a long battle there. And so I had a friend that heard this song, and they said, Brother Corey wrote this chorus, and it's about, kiss her goodbye. He must have been thinking, but in reality, and I know that affected him, but in reality, what he was really thinking about is how he wants to relate with the wife that the Lord has given him now. And so as he spoke about his relationship with her, man, he always wants to do this. And an older couple told me the other day that they heard this song. They know Corey, but from a distance, and they sent me a message online after they heard your song, James, and they said, would you please tell James that all of our lives, and we've been married 50 years, that's the one thing that we always do. We never say goodbye without a kiss. And I thought, man, that is a beautiful thing. Anyway, it's the concept behind this song, Kiss Her Goodbye. I hope you enjoy it.
Called up my daddy one day last week to ask him some questions about life. See, I met a girl and I think that she's the one, but to tell the truth, I'm a little scared inside. He said, son, you got the wrong man, I ain't got it all figured out. If I'm sure of anything, here's what I'll tell you without a doubt. Kiss her good morning when the sunlight's on her face, and kiss her good night beneath the moon. But of all the things you do, should you have to leave her side, don't ever miss a chance to kiss her goodbye. At the time I didn't know quite what he meant, took his words to heart. And now that I'm a little older, I've begun to understand those little acts of love play a major part. I still got a lot to learn, don't think I'll ever figure her out, but I guess for the meantime I'ma keep doing what I'm doing now, and kiss her good morning when the sunlight's on her face, kiss her good night beneath the moon. But of all things I do, should I have to leave her side, I won't ever miss a chance to kiss her goodbye. 'Cause life in this old world passes by at a rapid rate, and if you wait until next time, well, you might just be too late. Kiss her good morning when the sunlight's on her face, kiss her good night beneath the moon. But of all things you do, should you have to leave her side, don't ever miss a chance, don't you settle for a glance, 'cause it might be your last chance to kiss her goodbye.
I'm sure they enjoyed that. Matter of fact, somebody's probably kissing somebody goodbye right now. And look, use that for an excuse. Hey, you guys that are...
I'll use that for an excuse.
There you go. There you go. Hey, man, I was listening to this podcast, and it said I need to kiss you goodbye, so come here, baby.
I wouldn't do it like that.
You wouldn't do it like that?
No.
Well, you're not as cool as I am, so
Well,
smooth as I am.
Well, some people... Yeah, you're right. People would agree with that. Definitely not as smooth as you are.
Well,
Because that wasn't very smooth at all.
Come on,
in my
son.
opinion.
Come on. So, all right, let's talk about another one. Which one you want to talk about next? You guys want to hear another song? Let's talk about another song that you can hear.
Okay. Well, which one?
Hey, let's talk about Gray Hair.
Gray hair. All right.
I like it. I like this song. It's slower than the rest of the songs on here. He's got a lot of different. It's all country, but just different aspects, different styles. This one is a little bit slower, but it's more contemplative too. And what in the world made you write this song?
Well, life, I guess. I mean, I was just thinking, man, where's the time? Actually, now that I remember, this is probably one of the second. This was the second song I ever started working on. I just didn't know it was gonna be this. When I started writing this song, I had just a little tagline. There's a little line in there that says, "The clock ticks so fast, I wish I could catch it by the hand and turn back time." That's the first part of this song that I got. And when I got it, that was the second song. That was the second, like after I just wrote my first song, that was the first line that came to me after that. And that's all I had. And I was like, I kept trying to work with it and stuff, and I was bringing it a totally different way, like an entirely different way. And almost a year after I got that line, and all I had was that line for a whole year. And almost a year after, I just sat down and started playing a tune on my guitar, and then out of nowhere, it just like the whole song just came to me from that line, built around that line. I did the chorus and then the verses, and it just like, and I was like, this is not at all what I thought this was gonna be. I was like, this has just been sitting here in my notes for a year. Like, what? That's kind of weird. And I had no idea. I was like, this is not at all what I thought. The way I needed to go with this, and I was so happy with it afterwards, because I was like, I'm glad I didn't go that other way with it, because that would have been not right. But I guess, I don't know. I just needed to have a little bit more life experience in that year.
Did.
And it helped me write that song, I guess.
So now you just said, because when you recorded it, I think in the recording it says, the clock ticks so fast I wish I could catch it by the hand and spin it around.
And spin it around, yeah, that's what I meant to say.
But you said in Turn Back Time just a while ago, because that is the concept of what
that's
you're
the
saying.
concept. That's what I was thinking, like, because when I got that line, I just wrote that first song, and it was shots you didn't take, so I was having a lot of regrets, and I was thinking, man, it'd be nice if I could turn back time. Like, I wish I could just turn back time. That's what I was thinking. And I was thinking, that's a cool little, catchy thing. Like, wait a minute. I was thinking, like, in my mind, as you say, sanctified imagination.
Your sanctified imagination.
I was thinking, like, a clock has hands on it, you know? And, I was thinking it was like a dance. Like, time's a dance, and I could grab it by the hand and spin it around like I'm dancing with time.
You never really told me that when you played that song.
I've never said that, but
that's what I saw. As a matter of fact,
that's where that came from. I was thinking, man, what's a catchy little way to, like, it's like I'm dancing with time. Like the clock has hands on it, so why can't I just grab the clock by the hand and spin it around?
Yeah, you were sitting right there on the hearth when you played that one for me. The first time we were in here the day, and you came in here with that goofy look on your face, and I said, "You got a new song?" Yeah.
I don't think it was quite a whole year. I think it was a little less than that, but it felt like a year. It was definitely several months later.
Well, you spun back time a little bit. So.
Yeah.
But when you played that night, that's the first thing I thought. I thought, man, that little line, that little hook right there. I wish I could. It was like, so I saw a clock personified, and you taking it by the hand and dancing and just spinning it around. And anyway, I thought that was it's a little cool spin. So, and the name of the song is Gray Hair, and it's just about how fast time flies, and I mean, some good advice for how to handle time that's flying by. So, anything else about the song before we play it for him, son?
Not that I can think of.
Here we go. Gray Hair by James Reed.
Teenage boy at an old man's house one evening, talking about how he couldn't wait to be all grown up. He was looking towards the day when he'd be leaving that little one-horse town where he'd been stuck. Then the old man said, boy, you know, I was just like you. There's so many things I wish I knew, 'cause the clock ticks so fast I wish I could catch it by the hand and spin it around back to that time when I was in such a hurry and tell myself to slow down. Cherish everything I took for granted, 'cause I sure miss it now. Boy, I swear it don't take that long to get gray hair. Before long that boy was all grown up and married to a crazy fast-paced girl that was just like him. She wanted a bigger house and talked about babies, and trying to finish this old race before they could even begin. And that boy said, let me tell you something that I found. It's best to stop looking ahead and start looking around, 'cause the clock ticks so fast we wish we could catch it by the hand and spin it around back to this time when we were in such a hurry and tell ourselves to slow down. So let's cherish everything we can take for granted, take that long to get gray hair. So if you find yourself running through this life, well, just keep this in mind, you'll be alright. Life don't last as long as some might think. Everything could be gone in just one blink. 'Cause the clock ticks so fast, I wish I could catch you by the hand and spin it around back to that time when I was in such a hurry, and tell myself to slow down. And I cherish everything I took for granted, 'cause I sure miss it now, man, I swear. It don't take that long to get gray hair. No, it don't take that long to get gray hair.
Well, when we first started recording, I told James we just record for 30 minutes or so, and then of course, man, like an hour and 10 minutes into this, we're like, we got to quit. So listen, we're gonna break this up into two. We're gonna stop right here and end this episode. We'll pick up with another episode and do the other half of what we did with you guys in the next episode. Man, I just want to remind you that, man, when God gives you a gift, you want to make sure you make full advantage of it, use it. Everybody has one. We'll talk about that some more in the next episode. Know this, that the Scripture says that God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him would not perish but have everlasting life. John 3:16. And then also, man, I want to share this thought with you while we just leave here and wait to jump in for the next episode. Man, the Scriptures have a lot to say about singing. Man, singing to the Lord a new song. At the end of this next podcast, you're going to hear James talk about, even though these don't seem to be worship songs, they're worship songs to him. And man, that's just a real thing. I'm just sitting here flipping across through my Old Testament because I wanted to share a passage of Scripture with you. There's a place, and maybe I'm about to find it right here. There's a place in the Scripture where it says that the Lord sings over us. Here we go. This is Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 17. The Lord your God in your midst, the mighty one, will save. He'll rejoice over you with gladness. He'll quiet you with his love, and he'll rejoice over you with singing. Did you know, man, that you can come to the place where you recognize who God is, what he's given, what he's done? You enter a relationship with him by faith in Jesus Christ and not your works or anything else you do. And that puts you in a position where he rejoices over you with singing. Man, that God's got a song he sings over you. Think about that. Man, think about that. All right. Hey, thanks for listening. We're going to jump in with the rest of this recording in the next podcast. So share this, jump in there and check it out.